So these are what they call the 7 stages of life nowadays. And there's 7 lives unto themselves as you go through life. That's what you're embarking on as a Benoji. So we're going to go through these rather quickly so we can get to the western door. This first one, the good life. All you're supposed to do here is play. This is an important teaching. The very first thing you're going to do in any knowledge journey is play, because that's what you did at the beginning of life. Everything around you loved you and protected you, so you were just playing. You played with everything. If we had our bundles out, if you walked up and you picked up a shaker and you shook it to see what it was, that was you exploring life through play. You wanted to see what things did, so you played. You were very playful. Everything you did was play. And back in the day, we didn't force you to be a boy or a girl or a man or a woman. We observed you, because the adults in your life now take a different view than this modern time. Is they observe your behavior. They watch you so they can know how to guide you. One thing that happened in your naming ceremony, your naming was a clue as to how you were going to become something. So in your village, people would hear your name and they would say, oh, I know how to help this one grow into his name. So that was our education system, was to help our young ones grow into their names, become who they were intended to be by their conversation with the Creator. So, but this first part of life, you would play and the adults in your life would watch you play. The men would come and go because we were believing to hunt and gather, and the women were the nurturers. They would watch you. So the women got to see you, got to see your character, your behavior. In fact, in our leadership, they say if the leaders were all wiped out, the ones who would pick the new leader would be the women, because they saw an individual demonstrate leadership capacities right from being a toddler to adulthood. So they knew who a leader was. But they also knew those other ones, teacher and protector. They also knew those other ones by your behaviors, the small one, by watching you play is what they would do. So this first part of life is play. That's all you're intended to do. And everything came at you in terms of Zagawan, love. But they say you can't stay here in this life, you have to leave it, you have to transition. So what happens now is your first major lifetime physiological change, your puberty they call it. For girls it's the moon time, for boys it's the vision quest. Boys become shkinawe, their voice changes. Girls become a shkinikwe, that new creator, is what she becomes. So they're new beings, and there's rituals there to help them transition from childhood into adulthood. It's a fasting element of some kind, the berry fast for girls, the vision quest for boys. You go without, so that you can know why you're here. You can hear your spirit tell you why you came to life in this rite of passage. So when you're finished that, that takes you out of your child. You're no longer a child. You leave that behind. And you become what we call shkanijik, or the fast life. And for all intents and purposes now, you can create life, you can have children. So you're an adult, and you're treated that way. That's the way it would happen. You're an adult. You're not a teenager, you're not a halfway. You're an adult. You have the capacity to create life, and you're treated that way. So shkanijik are important in our culture. Shkanijik see things that we don't see as adults. They have peripheral vision. As we get older, our vision becomes narrow, we become focused. So Shkanijik remind us to look at things on the side, to see things off to the side, not to always just look straight ahead. That's what they do, it's their natural gift to see that. And they have a way of reading. They can read our actions, body language. They can tell the truth by how we act. We might say something with our mouth, but our body might be saying something different. They can tell that at this age. They have that great gift of reading us, how we act. So, but the Shkanijik now were reminded that these first 2 parts of life, Benoji and Shkanijik, you've expended a great amount of intellectual energy. This is the most intellectual energy you'll ever expend. You learned how to crawl, how to walk, how to run, how to fly. You learned a language, maybe two languages, and you learned body language. You learned these things. So you use so much energy learning all of these things these first two times in your life. So we say that we give that to you. When you're skenijic, we give you your intelligence. We say you're intelligent enough to figure out your own medicines. You would pick up a medicine and you would say, this is for me. I'm going to carry this. And that's what you would do. You would see it and you would use it in a good way. You would pick up a medicine that didn't feel right. It burned or it poked, it prickled. You'd spit it out, you'd throw it down. You'd say, that's not for me. And you'd walk away from it. But you're so intelligent now, though, you'd pick up a medicine, you'd say, I can't figure this out. I'm going to carry it until I figure it out, is what you would say. And that's what you would do. You're intelligent enough to do that. That's one of the things we're reminded of, to treat our skenijic this way. Because a lot of us older types, we might not have been treated that way. We might not have been given the benefit of our intelligence. So it's hard for us right now to liberate our young people to do that, to listen to them. So we say that this day and age, it's really important when we're having youth councils and youth boards. We're asking the skenijic to tell us what they think. It's important that that's just not a token gesture, that we listen to what they tell us. We listen to them, what they say, because they see things we forgot to look for. That's an important element that keeps our people going, keeps us moving into the future. So these first two elements. So the good life, you were inside your wigwam. The walking out ceremony, you walked into your village. At puberty, you were released into the village. Your parents said to you, there's life, try it out. If you run into trouble, come and ask me about it. I'll tell you what it was like for me. So while you're in the village as a skenijic, even that time comes, your village will release you. Your village will say, there's the big wide world. Go and look at it. Go and experience it. Don't even worry about being Nishnabé. Don't worry about it. Go look at our neighbors, see how they live. Look at the different parts of the world. Look at the different way people live. So you become a traveler, by a baya ajig, a wanderer. You travel creation, looking at life. What you're doing is you as an individual, you're looking for your place in the creation. One minute living organism, looking for its place in creation is what you're doing. Again, you're looking for your place in the universe. Because in your dimmest memories, you remember you knew the knowledge of the universe. So you're inspired to look for that again. Look for your place in this creation. And you wander around looking at it. Eventually you see similarities of what you had in your wigwam, what you had in your village. In these different nations, these different cultures, these different religions even. You say, I had elements of that growing up. And you come to realize we're all similar. The human beings, Bamajijik. Everything that lives has similarities. Even the animals, they have similar rituals, similar things. Miikaans, we know for a fact, has the rituals we have, because we walk side by side in the beginning time. So you get to see that not only in the human world, but in the world, living world. You see your place in this creation. You see that what you're given in the wigwam and in the village is what it's out there in the big world. So you return to your village, and you bring gifts from your travels. Everything that you went, you brought something home. Maybe a dentalium shell from the Pacific, turquoise from the south, soapstone from the north, ivory from the north, alligator skins from the south. You brought things back home to your village. So, back in your village now, you're getting ready to do what you and the Creator saw you doing here in the Oji Tajik. You're starting to know what you're good at. People are starting to tell you what you're good at. You're hearing it now. They say in the fast life, in the doing life here, your parents used to show you off. They were proud of you. They would show you off because they wanted you to be confident in who you are, so that when you got to this stage, the getting ready stage, you weren't shy. You weren't afraid to show people what you were good at, because you were good at it. You weren't ashamed of being good at something. In fact, you were determined that you were good at something. You could do it, is how you felt. And the language, Ingai chige, you say, I will do it. I can do it. Someone says to you, this needs to be done. You say, Ingai chige, I'll do it, is what you say. You're not going to stand back, let something falter because you didn't do something. You know you can do it. So you're getting ready to do your life purpose, and you're starting to pick up that phrase, Ingai chige, I'll do it. And then what happens here now, too, is you start to, we say, listen to only the good things people say about you. Remember, Minopamadzuin, your ears want to hear good things. So listen to the good things you will hear. Minopamadzuin. Mino Nikina, the good things you do. What good things do you do? Mino Nikina, Mino Niki, I do good things. So you listen to the good things. People say you're a good listener. You have insight. You're a visionary. You're a seer. You're intuitive. Listen to those, because that's what you are. And you can do those things. So you get ready to do your life purpose. And that's what you tell yourself. Ingai chige is what you say. And these are the anakiwan that we can do. And Gima is a leader. Ashkikawinene. Kwe is a healer. Kinamau kwe nene, a teacher. Wanakewede, a protector. Shkalbeus, a scout. You can do 5 things in your life. A leader, a healer, a teacher, a protector. If you can do 2, 3, or 4 of the top 4, then you're Shkalbeus, you're a scout. You can do many things, but you don't do one thing fully. A Gima, he leads, a pipe carrier, drum carrier, a healer, maybe the shaking tent, maybe the medicine person with the plant medicine, and then the teacher, the one who gives the spirit of the knowledge, and then the protector of our life, the protector of the harmony in life. Those are the ones. And then you can do those ones. 2, 3, or 4 makes you a Shkalbeus. So these are the 5 works you can do in Okiwin in this lifetime. And you move into one of those roles. Again, though, I remind you, these might not be solid for you. You might move, because remember, there's free will in life. There's movement. You don't get stuck in one career. You can change. So, you're into the doing life now. You're doing what you and the Creator talked about you coming here to do. 2 things now. Most important thing. When you were born, what was the first thing you did in life? You played. In the doing life, that's what you really need to remember, to play. This day and age, we didn't grow up in our cultures, so we didn't receive items as young people. Sometimes we come into them as adulthood. Let's say, for example, you receive a pipe in ceremony. Someone gives you a pipe. It comes from the spirit. So right away, you think you have to do things properly. You want to know the protocols, the procedures. You want to know how it's done properly. We remind you, as a little baby, you might have picked up that pipe and played with it. You might have held it upside down. You might have looked in the bowl. You might have looked down the stem. You might have pulled it apart. You might have put it back together. As an adult, as you receive these things, do that same thing. Take some time quietly by yourself and play with these things as they come to you. Play with them like a small child would. That's the first element of learning, is to play with something. And then you understand the rituals on top of that play. Just like you understand life now, because you played at the beginning time. You understand life because of this playfulness that you exhibited. So play is the first thing. And I remember when we brought back the culture in my community, Mount Kekeba, and Fred Wheatley, he said to us, I love what you young people are doing, reviving the culture. He said, but I want you to walk away from it every once in a while. Put your bundles down and walk away. He said, you need to take a break. If you do your work 24/7, you'll come to resent it, he said. So take a break from it. So that's what you do. Don't work 24/7. Take a break from your life purpose. Try something new. Be inquisitive. Learn something new. Okay, try that. And your purpose will last longer. Your energy and your life purpose will be stronger. So play is an important element in this part. Here's another part now that goes back to your childhood. We say you absolve your parents of their parental responsibilities, is what you do. Anything your parents couldn't give to you, let that go. Anything they couldn't get you, anything they couldn't give you, let that go. We live in a time now where we understand so much of what our parents couldn't give to us. In my language, in my community of Wasauksing, in 1939, the government came to my community and told the women there, teach your children English or else. That or else was residential schools. Our people didn't suffer residential schools so much. We had it, but not to the extent other communities did, because our community was strong. We were a Medewan community back in the early 20s. But what happened was the women then, they started teaching English to the children. Okay? So they did these things. So for me, I'm not fully fluent in the language. But I can get that back now. I just have to start speaking or taking language. It's not my mother and my mother's responsibility anymore for me to learn the language. So you can give to yourself what your parents couldn't give you. You have the ways and the means to do that now. If it's a toy, hey, buy yourself a toy. Play with it. Hey. Do that. Give yourself the gift of play. So that's what we do at this time in our life, in the doing life. That helps us fulfill doing our life. Hello. Gashkitagajig, using your gifts. So naturally, the transition would have been into the Kendasuin phase, knowledge gathering phase. You'd gather knowledge about yourself. But because we are ripped from our culture, we go through some self-doubt here. We question whether we're really the thing. Are we really it? Am I really niche? Maybe I'm just a brown-skinned pretendian. Eh? So we wonder. Eh? But in the Kendaswin, the knowledge-gathering phase, what you do is you know what you do. You know your gift. You remember what you and the Creator talked about. You know what you're doing. You come to honor that and recognize that. I'm doing my life purpose. Only I can do it the way I'm doing it. There's no one else can do it. And you hear those words you heard as a newborn baby, that you're a gift to this creation. And you say that to yourself, I'm a gift to creation. And you take that a stretch further. You say, this creation belongs to me. This is mine, is what you say. Just like as that little child who said, mine, 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 without understanding what that meant. At this stage of life, you say mine, fully cognizant of what that means. What's yours in this creation, this Bamadzuin, this Mino Bamadzuin, as it is. So that Maslov guy, he says you become self-actualized. You're fully cognizant of you and all your gifts. That's who you are. So that's what they say now. This is where you come into fully knowledgeable of who you are. You fulfill your purpose with the Creator. So this isn't a race to the finish line. Eh? Life isn't a race. It's not a climb to the top of the mountains. Eh? There's no marks at the end. So that's what we say. So when you journey, this is where you become you. You've evolved into the being you're meant to be. So what you receive now is a vacation. The pure life gets a jig. You get to spend the time in your life fully knowing who you are. Way back in the beginning of your life, you went like this, weh, and you were fed. Weh, and you were swaddled, you were put in blankets. Weh, you were sheltered. Weh, you were given affection. You didn't even know how to ask for them. That's what you received. At this end of life now, these beautiful knowledge comes out of your mouth. Your beautiful life experience, your beautiful life journey comes out of your mouth. Right? These beautiful words, this beautiful knowledge comes out. When these words come out, you're fed. When these words come out, you're given a blanket. When these words come out, you're given shelter. My boys always threaten to put me in an old age home like on the Simpsons. I guess that's going to be my shelter. Anyways, and then you're given affection. But these beautiful words of your life now come out. So you get that same thing you got as a newborn baby. And you're treated that way. You're a beautiful being again. And Zog-Edwin comes your way. You feel love again from those ones younger than you, those ones around you. And your peers, because it's been a long journey. If you're lucky, you still have brothers and sisters and peers, colleagues that are your age, that you can converse with and share your life journeys together. And they call that Getzejig. You're an elder, you're a teacher, you're a knowledge carrier. So this is how you get to spend the last part of your life, being a perfect human being, the way you and the Creator talked about it. So just as a little bit of a short recap, these first 4 parts of life, the good, the fast, the wondering, the wandering, the getting ready, these are very quick, these are very energetic and intense. They can go anywhere from 18 to maybe 45, 55 years. So if you're going to live to be 150, the last 3 stages of your life are a long time. Each one of these could be 30, 40 years each. Or maybe 20, and 60 years. It can be a long time. So the longest part of our life was near the end. Boy, knowing who we were was how we lived at one time. So just to let you know, even though these are all equal, look like they're equal length, they're not. There's a longer part. We're intended to live longer as older people. Our villages at one time were full of people in the hundreds. And that's just not storytelling, that's historical fact. Every one of you can think back in your families. You can go back 2, 3 generations, you'll find someone who lived to be 100, 90. Back a little further, someone 116, 120. It's not a made-up story that we lived a long time. That's the way life is for us. So, you're here. This top line here, where the mothers are, your mother's line. Here you see this circle here. Here you see 4 circles. Your child, your grandchild, your great-grandchild, maybe your great-great-grandchild. You live long enough to see that. You always see that in the newspapers. You see 5 generations of a family. And you see mostly they're all women. Women live a lot longer than men do. So you see that there's 5 generations of women. So even what we do, that's your blood legacy. Your ancestry, this woman here a long time ago did something so significant. You were born, you're going to have children. 7 generations from now, there's going to be a child that owes their blood lineage to you. So they're going to give you thanks for what you did in your lifetime. So in the middle here, this is you, the transmitter of all that culture that's being passed into the future. And then we're in a blessed time where we can pick up what was taken from us. We can pick that up and send that into the future with our great-grandchildren. That's one of the beautiful things, the opportunities we have right now. And this line below that goes with the father's line. This is the spirit lineage here. 7 generations ago, this man did something so significant, you were born. So in this lifetime, you walk a Miikaans, you walk a kind road. And those acts of kindness, you create a spirit lineage. Where you're kind, so show someone an act of kindness. Maybe that person decided he wanted to die that day. And your act of kindness changed his mind. He said, I'm going to live. And he got up and he had a full life. And he has a lineage that goes 7 generations in the future. That's your line. You created that through your act of kindness, is what we say. Your act of kindness went into the future. There are people who owe their lives to you in that act of kindness you did. And those of you who help are helpers. You're doing that right now. There are people in the future now who are acknowledging an act of kindness you've done. You might know that you've done it, you might not know. But your kind way of being sends lineage into the future. You have a spirit lineage. This answers because we're not required to have children. It's not a law. Some of us won't have children. Some of us will have spirit children, spirit relatives. Those are just as real as blood lineage, blood relatives. It's just as real, that one that goes into the future. So those are the legacies you create in this life. And you notice here on the west side now, you see this diagonals here, these lines going outward again. Your spirit starts to expand out of your chest. You start to grow from your center chest. It goes to be all around you now. You become spiritually connected. You can see things. You can hear things. You have prophecy. You're becoming connected to the spirit world. Your spirit is getting ready to go home, but you have these abilities. Back in the day, before all of this colonizing experience, this was the natural way of being. Our old people saw our names, our clans, our visions. They did all these things for us. Right now, many of us are charged to do that at a much younger age. You see young men and women working so hard spiritually. They're doing old people's work. They're not quite have the capacity yet, and some of them are burning out. They're leaving too early, because to be spiritually connected is an older person's way of being. It's an older way, something we hope to achieve. As you go through your life, you hope the day comes when you're spiritually connected, and then you have the capacity to do these elements of life and bring spiritual rituals, bring spiritual knowledge into our life. That's like an aspiration you'll have as you move through life. You won't jump into it as a 25-year-old. You'll wait till you're an older man, till you're older, and you have the capacity to understand how to take care of yourself, so you don't burn yourself out spiritually, so you don't give yourself away. You keep your spirit energy full. You keep it alive. So those are things, and one of the things we do is when we do that spirit dish. When you do the spirit dish, when you do feasts, or any time you dream about an ancestor, even you sometimes when you're feeling disassociated, disconnected, give yourself a meal. Give your spirit name a spirit dish. Give yourself a little dish for your spirit, so you can manifest that energy you need to continue to do the spiritual things. Because many of us, even us here in life promotion, in feather carriers, every time you give someone purpose, you help them find those 4 answers of where they come from, who they are, where they're going, and why they're here. You lose a little bit of yours. So when helping someone, as you get older, you learn to feast yourself. Give yourself a little bit of a spirit dish. I remember when I was younger in my trauma, it manifested as a demon. It used to come. And I used to dream this demon was coming, and I had to wrestle it. And I wrestled it every morning of my life, because I knew if it beat me, I would do something terrible that day. But I won. I won every day. And then in healing, I came to call him to go away. He left. He went away one time. He threw a tantrum. And he left, and he never came back. So even though he's gone, I still feast him. I'll do a feast for that demon that used to torment me. You might think it's funny, but this is what I choose to do. I feed him green grapes and brie cheese. I call that feasting my demon. I give him a feast so that he knows that he's honored and he's taken care of, so he doesn't come back and bother me. Those are processes to consider as you're doing your work, to attend to your spirit. Because as you get closer to the western door, there is sometimes, I don't know how to describe it, almost like a carelessness, where you forget to look after your spirit. You think you can do anything. You think you don't need to do the spirit thing. But your spirit needs attention. Your spirit needs to have that feast. Your spirit needs to take a break from what it's doing. Your spirit needs to do something that's not a kiwan, that's not work. So you learn to tend to look after your spirit, because you're beginning now to get ready to be a spirit. So it's a good thing when you get together with like-minded people. You have spiritual conversations. Find people you can trust, people who won't think you're crazy. You can talk about things together. Bamasage Merle and I used to do that all the time. Of all the people I miss the most, it's him, because we don't have those conversations anymore. I don't have them with him. Although I got to tell you, sometimes when I'm doing a ceremony, I can feel him looking over my shoulder to make sure I'm doing it the right way. So he's still around. So you're preparing your spirit now. In 2.0, this is going to be important, tending to the spirit, because that's the part that's going to be next. Just like as your Manado came here, you were born, you're going to turn into what we call Jibai, a spirit that's had a living experience. That's what it's going to be, what you're going to become. So the western door, Ningabin and Shkwandam. You've lived your life. The tens of thousands of days you told the Creator you would walk. That day comes. The Creator sends someone. It sends someone to you. A Manado Benesi in some cases, a spirit bird. It's not always going to be the owl. It's going to be a bird of some kind. Manado Benesi, or it might be an ancestor, it might be a relative. Someone's going to come and they're going to call your spirit name. And when your spirit name, that's when your spirit knows it's time to leave its body. So the instant your spirit leaves its body, you become the perfect human being now. You're perfectly who you are meant to become. Who you and the Creator talked about a long time ago. That's who you are now. You're perfectly you. You have a PhD in you. You know everything about yourself. So for me on that day, I'll fully understand who Zagaske is, who that sun ray is. I'll know him fully on that day. So that's what we say. You're perfectly who you're meant to be. That's what name gets called. And you leave your body, and your helper turns you around, turns you to face the east. You get to look back at your life journey. You get to look at everything. As long as it takes, you can look at that, they say. Look at it. And we know that this is a true occurrence because we've heard stories of people who've been in accidents, and they had near-death experiences. They say their life flashed before their eyes. But that wasn't their time to go, so they're here. But they remember that experience of looking at their life. So that's what you do. You look back. As long as it takes, you get to look at your journey. And then when you're finished, your helper turns you around and you face the west. You face the west. So what happens if they can? We remind you that the family, your immediate family, if they could grieve openly and hard, don't hold anything back. Grieve. Let it all happen. Don't hold it back. Don't be that Hollywood Indian with one cheek rolling down your cheek. He's in Hollywood. He probably wasn't even a real Indian. He's probably a Spanish guy acting like an Indian. So make sure you grieve. That first time you hear someone's left, let this grief come. And if your family can do it, if they have the capacity, that's when you would light a sacred fire. But if you can't do it the first night, that's okay. But you would light a sacred fire, because what that's going to do, the one who's left, it gives them a reference point. It gives them a place where they can go. Just like they saw that sacred fire as they were being born, and they came to it, now they're going to see it and they're going to walk away from it. They're going to leave it behind them. They're going to leave the fire of Bamadzuan behind them. They're going to leave it, walk away from it. But for these first 4 nights, it's a reference point. It's a gathering place. So the first night, if they can, they'll do a spirit dish for you and start telling good stories about you. The second night, same thing. They'll have a feast. Your neighbors might come. They'll bring food. They'll tell good stories. They'll sit by the fire. They'll talk about you in a good way, because now what are you? You're a Manado. And what is the Manado? It's immortal, it's perfect, it's good, and it's kind. That's what you are. You're a Manado. So they tell good stories about you. They want you to know the goodness of you. The third night, the whole village might come now. Same thing. Stories and feasting. Good stories about you. They tell that to you, and you come and you listen to them. But by now on the third night, you're hearing You're hearing that you want to be here in the spirit world. You're hearing the pull of Aj-Odenam. You're wanting to go there. As much as you feel the love of the people here and you're ambivalent, you want to stay here, but yet you want to go. You love people here, but yet you love the Creator. You want to go. So on the third night, you're starting to feel that ambivalence of wanting to be here and wanting to be there. So on the fourth night, that's when they have what they call your final your final feast, your giveaway, your final send-off and your final forgiveness. So this is when people come from far away, great distances, maybe you hadn't seen someone in 20 years, but people come to your feast, they tell good stories again, they feast you. And what happens here now is what's called a final forgiveness. It's a releasing of your obligations to this world. If you hurt someone, they'll forgive you. If someone hurt you, they'll ask for forgiveness. If you promise to do something for someone, they'll say, forget about it. Let it go. I'll ask someone else, is what they tell you, right? And if they're obliged to do something for you, they'll ask you to let that go. Don't worry about it, they say. You'll have an important journey. Your final ties with life are finished with that final forgiveness. People speak openly or under their breath. They pray so that you don't feel obligated to stay here. And then your family gathers around this massive wooden bowl and it's full of the food and they feast with you. This time with you out of this big bowl. They feast with you. You come to eat with them out of this bowl. And while they're eating, the teacher tells this teaching, the Miikaans teaching to the family. So the family understands they have a life to live still. They have a journey to follow. They have a Bamadzo and Mikan. They have a life journey. You have a spirit journey. You have a Manado Mikan. You're going on your own road, is what you're going. So your family needs to hear the life teaching so they can remember they have lives to live. So what happens now? Someone comes and gives you what we call your final instructions. What's going to happen to you as you go into the next part on your own is what they tell you. Hopefully it's someone who knows you because they can tell you specifics. If it's someone that doesn't know you, you might get the generic teaching and a good idea of what's going to happen. But someone who knows you might be able to know when you have challenges. One of the things I heard in this teaching when I was listening to that was that for me, there might be a danger for me. I might try to see people who have suicided and try to put them on my path. I might try to do that. I've been warned not to try that. Don't do that, I've been told. Only the Creator can pull them up, is what I've been warned. So you might hear specifics in that teaching from someone who knows you, who can give you your final send-off. So with that final teaching, you're given gifts. You're given tobacco because you're going to need tobacco the 4 nights. You're given a food bundle because you're going to stop and eat 4 nights. You're given a fire bundle because you need a fire. You're going to need a fire 4 nights. And you're given a Miga shell because when you get to the river, you're going to put that down so you can cross the river to the spirit world. And there might be items specific to you that you'll take with you. Sometimes people will send their hair with you as a symbol of how much you're loved. So some things will go with you, but the people in life, they prepare you. Because what happens next, you're on your own now. If you think you felt lonely in life, you've never felt this lonely. This is the loneliest you will ever feel. Getting back to the Creator, that's your journey, that's your purpose. You'll feel that, but you're alone. But your loved ones have given you those items I talked about. They've given you prayers. They also say there's a kind spirit. Every unseen kind of act you've done, that spirit will help you. Anytime you've done an act of kindness, no one is acknowledged or seen, that spirit will give you a little bit of help on this journey. Those unseen act of kindnesses that you did. So you still get help, even though you're in this loneliest part. So these 4 nights, you're totally on your own. This first night, you're walking on a road. It shines like gold. Just keep walking away from the fire. Walk towards the spirit world. And all around you will be noise. Don't listen to the noise. Ignore it and keep going. So this first night represents you still have purpose. Your whole lifetime is about learning your life purpose and living your purpose. Now your purpose is to get home to Ajode now. Okay? The road is your purpose now. Keep moving towards Ajode now, towards the west on that first night. So then you rest. Eh? Then on the second night, you come to this place where two animals block your way. Two giant cats, two lynx. They stand shoulder to shoulder, and they say to you, how did you treat every living thing? You say, I treated every living thing with respect. I took only what I needed. When I had too much, I shared. And when that's the true answer, they let you go by. But if that's not the true answer, what they'll do is they'll show you what your victims felt, is what they'll do for you. They'll show that. So that's what we say. For men, because we're hunters, we need to hunt with respect, do things in kindness, and those animals will just let us go by. But if we do with disrespected life, they'll show us how we harmed life. They'll show us the harm. They'll make us feel that harm, is what they will do. But eventually they'll let you go by. They don't make you stay there. It's not a punishment. It's sort of like a cleaning of your spirit. They'll let your spirit, clean, shine up so that you can go on into the spirit world. So you walk past them once that's all taken care of. So they say respect or moderation. Your parents gave that to you at birth. They taught you how to share. That's the teaching. That's what they call the first teachers. They taught you how to share. That moderation will help you make it through every one of these little roads, the Miikaans. To moderate will help you cross every little Miikaan into the next stage of life. To take only what you need, and when you have too much, you share. Is what happens to us when we go through this part. Sort of like shining up your spirit so we can carry on through. Then on the third night, you come to a fork in the road. Everything looks the same. You can't tell which way is the right way. This is where your loved ones help you. They gave you tobacco. So you put tobacco down in the fork and the right road shines and you go through. If you don't have tobacco, you're only going to be lost for a little while. You're going to find the road again. Because remember, in our ceremonies, we pray for the forgotten ones. We always remember the forgotten ones. There might be a forgotten one who never used tobacco in his life, but when we mention that in our prayer, it helps liberate him to see the road. So we take care of those ones, even in our living life still, those ones who are lost, through our consideration and our kindness. So, choice. Tobacco helps you make the right choice on the third night. The fourth night, you come to a river. The river is rapids, it's loud. And your family gave you a miga shell, the symbol of life. So you put that miga shell on the bank, and the river goes flat, goes calm. You can hear people talking about you. This log comes and you walk across the river. Now as you cross the river, they come running over the hill and they're happy to see you. They take you. They take you over the hill. They put new clothes on you right away. They dress you up. And on the other side of the hill, there's blankets there. And they take that feast bundle you brought. They spread that feast out, and there's a great celebration that you're back in the spirit world. That's the way it is. When I was a little boy, my community was small. Maybe there were only about 80 people. So when someone died, us children had to be quiet. We couldn't run around screaming or make lots of noise when someone died. But after a number of days, we'd get word to go ahead, to be free again. So we assumed that's when that person was home. We didn't have to worry about disturbing them now. So you're in the spirit world. And if you look down here in the bottom here, these four: purpose, respect, choice, and life. This is in this understanding. These are the understandings that will get you home to the spirit world. These are things that you will do. But in 2.0, when you think about making your journey home to the spirit world, you make preparations. You tell people what you want. You tell them what your send-off ritual will be. as best you can. You let them know so they're not left guessing, so they're not left wondering what they can do to help you get home. And you let them know. So conversing around death and dying is important. In fact, it's a liberation, because our people, it's a freedom. Your spirit's no longer confined in its vessel. It's free. Remember, in the spirit world, things have no size, shape, or form. It's a feeling of great eternal bliss and harmony. So you're free. So that's what we have to look forward to, liberation of the spirit back to the spirit world. But if you look at these four things here, your purpose, your respect, your choice, and your life, if you implement those right now in your life, before you get to your spirit, Manado Mikan, you'll have a smoother Mikan. You'll have a smoother Manado Mikan. You'll have an easier journey back to the spirit world. So preparing for your spirit journey begins in life. Knowing your purpose. All those four questions. Why am, where did I come from? Who am I? Why am I here? Where am I going? Knowing your purpose. Do it now in your lifetime. It's also that conversation about moving on into the spirit world. And then moderation, respect, and taking only what you need and sharing. That's the other element. If you practice it in life now, it'll help you transition smoother to the spirit world. And then using your tobacco, your asama. In life, if you're ever faced with an equal decision, you have a choice. They're both the same. Just like in this journey, put your tobacco down in the fork of that road. It will show you the way to go. It's what we're reminded of. So even in life now, you can do that. You can choose the right road with your tobacco. Make decisions with your tobacco. It's how you can live your life. That will help you transition to the spirit world when the time comes. And then life. Have a faith in life. The Miikaans. The Creator blew life into us. Have that faith in life. So that your whole lifetime here, think of Bamadswin as the way the Creator created it. The glue is Zageruin. Kindness is the energy. Put your minds there. So you see a Kaje Mikan, a kind road, and a Kaje Manado, a kind spirit. You'll see Kaje Manado everywhere. Maybe someone might, in a moment of impatience, bark some sharp words at you. When you look at the kindness in the world, in those words, you'll see that. You'll understand why that person was motivated to speak that way, and you might see the deliberation behind those words. So see things in a kind way is what happens. So these 4 nights to help you get to the spirit world are 4 ways we can live our life, so that when the time comes, we can transition to Ajode now in a smooth way. So when we talk about our journey here, the spirit journey here, the spirit journey to the spirit world, it begins inside life as we tend to our spirit, as we look at our spiritual way of being. To start talking about that, what it's like to be a spirit again. And we had a clue our whole lifetime, even before we came here. What was that clue to have that spirit conversation? Well, it's your name, your spirit name. That's the spirit you'll talk about, and that will help you understand that spirit. So in the time that the spirit journey comes, the time when people love, when you leave people, you fill their hearts with love, and they'll have that emptiness, that grief. They're still going to have it because they love you, but they will know for sure you had a good long life, because that's the other thing we need to remember to empower ourselves, to live as long as we can, to have that long life. To live to be 150, to put that as a little seed in our minds, because that alleviates grief. When you're an old man and you walk out that door at 116, your children will look at you and say, he had a good long life. It will help them with their grief, and it will help you get back to the spirit world. So our dialogue, how we talk about life, is important. And we need to talk about it. As much as someone wants to talk about life, to have that patience to listen to them. Not to become impatient and tell them to shut up. in the knowledges that come from the Miikaans, about coming into life and leaving life. Those are conversations our people carried, and we understood those. We talked about them freely, without shame, without guilt, without fear. So that's what we're looking at now as we move forward. Normalizing the conversation about death, even saying that she died, he died, and trying not to make up analogies or words to describe that, their liberation to go back into the spirit world. Just to think of ourselves that way. A lot of times, because our philosophy of life revolves around what we call Gitchamanado, a great mystery. We're fascinated by the mystery, It's something, as long as it's a mystery, it's something of fear, it's something of trepidation. But when it becomes a knowledge, we no longer fear it. We have an understanding. That's what the Gitchamanado inspires us to do. The great mystery inspires us to understand, even if it's our own manado, our own mystery. Okay, sound good? Whoop.
That was great. Thank you so much. Miikaans.
Yeah, just to show you this last part here. These are the rituals, rites of passage here that we go through. We're bringing them back. I believe once we pull these back, they also have the capacity to prevent chronic illnesses, cancer, Parkinson's. Our people knew about these things in ritual. The rituals that we practiced prevented our bodies from doing things that they do now. And those are knowledges we have yet to look forward to. I wanted to show you this last one here. I skipped over it. This one here. So it's a circle. It's a way in life, it's a way out of life. And over here is Gonajwin Ge Ajwudenong here. This is how we circle it around so we can look at that. Sometimes if you want to, you can look at this and meditate on this. You can tell I still have lots to learn, because there's a blank area up here. I still don't know what that's about, but there's something there to find out. Maybe when I'm 117, maybe Connor will tell me what that is.